Remember the housing recession? Welcome to the housing depression. Hi, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto, and here is the deal. We've just added a few more years of housing pain by being kind. Housing prices will keep falling because the government wants to keep helping, and because banks simply have had it with arguing. So they're just cowering, virtually in unison, implementing foreclosure freezing. JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, GMAC, they've all stepped up to stop throwing in-hoc homeowners out. The official reason is because the banks have discovered they've been a bit too aggressive getting these loans off their books, and some of their so-called robo-signers a bit too robotic, systematically taking them off their books. I suspect that was part of the reason, but no one could tell me the fast-approaching election, but 4 weeks away, wasn't an even bigger reason. Why make themselves an issue now when the administration and Congress can make a convenient foil of them now? So they stole the foreclosure stuff, and the rest of us, well, we're just stuffed. Stuck in homes that will likely keep declining in value and paying mortgages that an increasing number of Americans find doing so has no value. In fact, the government backs them not paying and does little to support those who are paying. This is not a good prescription for a housing recovery, folks. So ignore that 4.3% surge in pending home sales in August, not after what I saw pending today. A freeze in foreclosures and a freeze in the natural order, cruel as it is, of a market that can't do its own thing and wash itself out. Not when the government refuses to get out of the way and cowed banks refuse to let them even try. They're too afraid, and the government's too big. And us? Well, we're just too small. So welcome to Housing Groundhog Day. Only instead of 6 more weeks of bad housing numbers, at the rate we're growing, try 6 more years. My next guest is convinced as well that the more we forestall foreclosures, the more we drag this mess out. And housing keeps hurting and hurting and hurting. Chip Cummings is a real estate expert. He's author of Cashing In on Pre-Foreclosures and Short Sales. Chip, I meant to say, good to have you. What do you think happens now with this foreclosure stuff, Chip?
Great to be back, Neil. And you know, it's a bad idea. What we're trying to do is avoid taking the medicine. As you and I have discussed before, we need to get this market back on track. And once we take our medicine and get these properties back in circulation, the quicker we can get through this.
The argument for not doing that, Chip, is it'll be a catastrophic event, that if all these homeowners in duress were to foreclose simultaneously, for example, you know, millions of properties will be on the market, and that's a disaster. What do you say?
Well, we had what, 1 million this year. We're looking at 1.2 million next year, and you're right, the property situation is sort of dire, but it takes over a year in most states right now to foreclose. And you and I could be sitting here in, like you said, 6 years from now discussing this same problem as we keep extending it. There are investors out there that want these properties. We need to get them back in the marketplace so that we can start correcting this cycle.
All right, so obviously the correction ain't done. What are we realistically looking at, whether foreclosures are frozen or not?
Well, it's going to take some time to get out of this, there's no question, but if we keep inserting government programs and fixes that are just prolonging it, we could be looking at this for the next couple of years. If the market could just get on track to recover and let the system work, we might be out of this in another year and a half, 2 years, or at least in most areas starting to pick up steam. Some areas look promising, but if we keep on the track of avoiding the inevitable, we're just sending a bad message to the homeowners out there.
And that is the message we're sending. Chip, thank you very much. Chip Cummings, cashing in on pre-foreclosures and short sales, which I guess there'll be a lot of.